Well, Charlotte was obviously much smaller.
I wanted to be a real cop. I mean, this is where the action was, is Charlotte.
We ought to consider consolidating the police force.
No, I didn't, and it's probably personal. Everybody had their own reasons.
We believed that we were better equipped.
There wasn't, cliques that you had to worry about.
We're the best police department in the country, and that was built on foundations of prior chiefs.
One of the biggest things that I think helped to make everybody know that both sides were trying to do something fair was when they got a new chief. They said that they wanted to get a chief, and they brought a chief in, Chief Nowicki, who was neither county nor city. So this was somebody from the outside who didn't have a stake on either side. And Chief Nowicki, it was his probably biggest job trying to make sure that both sides felt like, hey, this is a team effort. We're not trying to make this a Charlotte Police Department, not a county police department, but a Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department.
The merger was completed when Chief Nowicki got here. And so he was actually in a good place because we were a fairly new department as the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. And Chief Nowicki brought a lot of innovation and technology to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department that we didn't have.
Data-driven policing is essential to problem-oriented policing. You've got to use the information and data you have to identify and solve and measure the outcome of problems. So, I remember walking into, early on, maybe the first month or so I was there, I was in one of the districts and doing the rounds, getting introduced to all the folks, and I walked into a little room where they were doing pin maps. They were still taking the little stick pins and putting them on the maps. Computerized mapping was already being implemented across policing. So I made my first announcement to a small group in that room. I guarantee you, within the year, you will not have any more pins left. You'll be using it all on computers. So we did do that. My background before I came to Charlotte, I was the head of the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. So I had that background. And when I was deputy superintendent in Chicago, information technology was one of my divisions within my bureau. I had that background coming into Charlotte.
Actually, Nowicki was our first community policing chief. All right, he was dealing with the merger and he was implementing community policing as well. Nowicki came in and really did the divisions where you're assigned to this area, you're going to work this beat, you're going to work this shift, and really made it more formal and part of us operationally. And then Stevens came in and really started with the problem solving. And he's much more, he's really a cerebral person. So he's giving you the why behind what we're doing. Nowicki was like, this is what we're going to do, let's do it. And then Stevens got to come in and really deeply explain the why behind it.
The department had a great start on problem-oriented policing when I came here. A lot of technology issues that they were working on, a lot of COPS grants, and trying to create a network, trying to create automated systems to assist problem solving and to support it. And so a lot of that was in play when I got here, but it wasn't finished. And it was just, takes longer to do that. We recognized and received several awards for different projects that officers had worked on, and it was making a difference. And I think there was a certain amount of pride that was in the department, and particularly the people that were fully engaged. But most, I think, had a lot of pride in the fact that the work that we were doing was making a difference and making people safer, making them feel better about the police department and the people that are in it.
We were already doing the work together, but he made it technologically a lot more efficient. He advanced us with the laptops. He made it so we had KB Cops. We could do reports online. He did a lot of the work that a progressive chief like he was would do. Nowadays, we take it for granted, but it was really earth-shattering. We were one of the first organizations to really be that technologically savvy.
The technology was really all designed around supporting the officer on the street. And investigators. So it was a much more operational focused technological plan than a lot of departments. It was a lot simpler, a lot faster. Information became available a lot sooner. So first year or so was kind of a struggle. A lot of, like police officers do, moaning and groaning and griping and complaining. But about a year into it, it started, they started getting information back. It started working for them. They could do searches. I remember an officer solving a crime based on a little search that he could do that wasn't possible before that.
One of the biggest problem areas for me as the chief of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is to convince the leadership in smaller communities of the value of being policed by full-service police department, the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, and we accommodated them when we could. For example, establishing a substation in Mid Hill to make so that they felt that we truly had their interests and their problems in our minds, and getting them, involving them in the selection. Not really formally, but informally, in the selection of who the leadership was in those areas as well.
The first 4 or 5 years I was here, we weren't able to add police officers, but we reached a point where I think we added like 200 or so, and that was all catch up. Just catching up, trying to keep up with the growth and the service that was created. And I believe that the problem-solving work, the technology we had available to us, put us in a position where we could provide good, solid services to the community at a lot fewer officers than what a city would ordinarily have.
I've always had the philosophy that policing starts, ends, and must be maintained within the community. And that I did not believe in a lot of over-specialization within the department, because I believe that took the resources out of communities, or they only came into communities when there were certain problems that they needed to address, whether it was narcotics, traffic, or other type of activity. And I wanted to bring more of those resources back to the community, and quite naturally that wasn't looked upon very favorably within the organization, because people become attached to their specialized assignments. But I felt that there was a need to put more resources and greater accountability into the 13 divisions.
I came in and we had a controversial officer-involved shooting, and the first thing I wanted to do is bring the organization back together, because we were quite divided as an organization. I had been over investigations when we made the arrest, the first officer that I can recall we'd ever arrested. And so luckily I'd been here, for a couple of decades already. I had some credibility and trust, but I had to reestablish that, because now I'm the chief. I'm the CEO, I am administration, and I had to show them I'm the same guy. And I had to do it 20 times. I do it exactly the same way. We'd done it under Monroe as far as that arrest. But I had to really have the conversations that I think I continued throughout my tenure, because it changed how I looked at officers. I had more respect for them than I ever had. And this is the first place that I put something before myself, which was the blessing of going through the academy that way. But they showed me humanity in policing, and I've been a believer ever since. They changed me more so than I think convinced them of who I was. They showed me who I could be, and I owe them tremendously for that.
We're the best police department in the country, and that was built on foundations of prior chiefs that were long before me, but we have always been on the forefront of technology to be able to take those steps forward that other agencies may be reluctant to take forward, whether it's technology, ideas, the way we approach our issues or crime issues within the city, the community outreach programs that we have for our young people. It's just second to none. And you know, there's no doubt in my mind that we'd be hard pressed to find another agency that it does as much as we do and is as effective at it as the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department.
A lot more people in leadership positions care about the thoughts and the perspectives of younger people.
Large departments all over the country, short 200 or 300 officers.
We had our challenges and we went through the adversity, but if you look at where we are now and what a great place we are in now, I think to be able to pull us through that as a leader within our agency is probably what I will look back one day and say that was a pretty good feat there and a great accomplishment.